Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 113 of Conqueror's Corner podcast. This is the pre-show. We're going to hang out for a little while before we get started with Weapons for the Deep. Name of this episode. This is the last week of the season, so finishing up Guardian games. Hope you got a good title and a good tractopus. I'm not sure how much you all did with that. I thought, so I did like the final week of it where you get like to finish the last step for the strike playlist and then supremacy, thinking that you get some kind of dialogue when you're at 15 out of 15, but you don't. So,
thank you for your service.
Yep.
I think I had the game on 2 times since our last podcast. I've had between Mother's Day and ball games and stuff, I haven't been home much in the evenings, unfortunately.
Yeah, kind of what happens with people for the spring into early summer. They kind of...
I'm a little concerned for next season, honestly.
Yeah. That dungeon better be good, right?
Yeah, better be real good. All right, though. I mean, last year we all took a little break and played different games, and we came back. Destiny's not a game you can play 12 months a year anymore. I just wish people would understand that. Probably be a lot happier if they did.
Mm-hmm. Chad, how's Tears of the King? Oh, is he gone? No, still there.
No, I'm here. I'm here. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Been meandering about, trying to do stuff, and you get sidetracked every 5 seconds. It's great.
How many? I
There's
think
too
I've
much
seen an
nonsense
article.
to do.
How many was sold?
But it's not as many as that sold Mario Kart 8. You seen the numbers on that game?
Oh, it's surpassed 10 million copies in 3 days. Tears of the Kingdom.
Holy moly!
So if it's let's just say it's
What?
$70 a piece. That's $700 million. Is there
That's a couple.
Is there microtransactions in it, Chad?
No.
Okay. So there's nothing.
I mean, they don't have.
You can buy those things. I remember you used to talk to my wife about it. You can buy like amiibo
You talking about
things.
the amiibos?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not really. Those are more like collectibles that also can give you stuff in game. In a bunch of games.
Is that a fancy way to say there's a microtransactions, Fox, for somebody that doesn't live in the Nintendo world?
Are they? Did you say they're amiibos? Is that what you said they were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, amiibos they're like Funko Pops of Nintendo characters,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can like hold them near the Switch, and then like, they might give you like an extra heart or something in the game, or yeah,
Pay to win.
Kind of, pretty much, yeah, pretty well. So, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It has sold it just passed 50 million units sold. 50 million.
Wow.
And
So
everybody's
How long's
like,
it been
why
out
can't...
though?
It don't matter, dude. 50 million sales.
I'm not saying it's not a lot. It's a lot.
What console was that on?
Switch.
It came out for.
Okay.
Well, it also came out on Wii U, right?
Yeah. I think you're right.
I just wonder.
So best selling games of all time.
Minecraft.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6. And on Wii U and Switch combined, it has sold 62.25 mil.
Wow.
Now, I want you guys to think for a second. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 games ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Jared say Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft is number 1. 238 million. Now, the next game is 180 million. Assuming you guys haven't pulled it up, what
Yeah.
would your guess be for what it is?
Tetris.
Tetris is number 3 at 100 million.
So it's a game between Tetris and Minecraft.
Yep. I think once I tell you, you'll be like, "Oh, how did I forget that?"
It's a game that man, what is it?
Is it Croc? Legend of the Gobos?
No, I
Go
can
ahead.
safely say it's not.
Go ahead.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Really?
Think about it. It's been out since Xbox 360,
Yeah.
Xbox One, PC release. The game came out in 2013. The huge online portion of that game.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
so it sold 180 mil. Tetris was 100 mil. I don't think you guys will get 4 and 5,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I'll give you a hint. One of them was like a pack-in with the system. Everybody had it. If you don't guess it, if you don't guess it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, I should have known that."
Everybody
Like
had
I'm
it.
sure
Is it
your
that bubble
grandma
game?
played it. No,
Or
I'm sure
Solitaire?
nope. I'm sure your grandma probably played it with you at some point, or your grandpa.
Pong.
Wii Sports, bowling,
Oh,
Okay.
and all those.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah. That makes sense.
Number 5, you guys have no chance of getting. I'll just tell you.
Can you give
If you
us
get
like
it, I
the
would be
era?
very impressed. Yeah, it came out in 2017, December of 2017. It kind of spawned. I won't say it's the first game of this genre of games, but I'll say it was the first really popular game of this genre of games.
Oh, is it Fortnite?
Nope. You're close.
Oh, Counter-Strike.
Nope.
Tom Clancy.
Nope.
Mm. All right.
Chad, you have a guess? You're just sitting there licking your
Um,
teeth or something.
Yeah, I had some flank steak and it's stuck in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Battle Royale genre.
Battle Royale. It's not Fortnite. Did somebody else
Nope.
say Fortnite?
Yeah.
That's what Jared did. Player Unknown Battlegrounds.
Oh, really? That's number 5. Wow.
75 mil.
So is Fortnite in the top 10?
No, I don't even see Fortnite on the list. I wonder if it's because it was free. Maybe that's why.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
would make sense.
I don't see any free to play games on here.
Mm.
Just to round out the top 10, 6 was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 7 was the original Super Mario Bros. 8 was Red Dead 2. 9
Red
was
Dead 2, baby.
Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow.
Mm.
Next was, I've never played this game. This might be the only game in the top 10 I've never even touched. Terraria.
Oh, okay.
And then Wii Fit was the We Fit and Tetris.
So We Fit and Wii Sports is on there.
Yep. And then Animal Crossing New Horizons after that.
I guess Nintendo knows something about getting people to buy their stuff.
Yep. Yep. Pretty wild. Okay, I think Animal Crossing is the newest game that's in like the top 15 or top 12 or whatever. That's crazy. But Minecraft just absolutely blows everything else away. I was thinking the other day, I bought Minecraft on Xbox 360, Xbox One. I think I bought it on Xbox One twice, actually. And then I bought it on both kids' iPads. Bought it on my PC, both the Bedrock and the Java version. And I think I'm responsible for seven purchases of it.
Yeah. Because you know you're going to play it. At least, you know.
Yeah, it's just like and it's only like, it's at that, like, is it $30 or something?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun
Which is
family
like
activity.
Right at that price range to where you don't really have to think too hard about spending it. Almost like they knew what they were doing. All right, we ready to get this show started?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
It's probably the best pre-show we ever did.
Probably so. That just means the rest of the show is going to be trash. Everybody have squiggles.
Squiggle.
I think so.
Yeah, I see Jared squiggles.
Clicking the button. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 113 of the Gilded Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is May 18th, 2023. I'm the Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox, and I'm here with my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now. Jared?
For us, we're looking forward to that dungeon next week. Ready to go deep in the next season. And who knows? Maybe we get to have a new activity.
And the chronicler himself, chadocero.
Definitely excited about the dungeon. Dungeons are Jared and I's favorites. They're a lot of fun. And excited to carry Ryan through it, and then hopefully some of you guys.
And remember, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, give us a follow on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. We're kind of go through hot spells and cold spells with our social media and things. Send us a bunch of friend requests. Join our Discord server. Just going to be honest with you guys. It's been all our buddies are kind of not playing a lot right now, so you could kind of just slide right in there and run some content with us. We did get a TWAB this week from BR1. Is that how we're saying that? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So BR1 brought us the TWAB, but before we get into the TWAB, let's listen to the intro music, who is brought to you by everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG. Not gonna lie, that was definitely the old music. So we're just gonna do a double dose of intro music for today. Here's the new music.
to Conqueror's Corner, a Destiny podcast.
You know, I think it's a treat to listen to both things from Link there back to back. He's a talented artist, and I think he's pretty good at making intro music and music in general. He's got a lot of good stuff out there. Definitely followed to his Twitter, which you probably lead to his YouTube, and a lot of stuff that he's been out and doing a lot of music on, especially in the Destiny universe. All right, Bungie put out 2 articles this week. We got Season 21 weapons changes preview, and then also the TWAB. The weapon changes probably the meat and potatoes with some, that crispy onions on top that the TWAB brought. So we'll go ahead and lead right into the weapon changes first. Weapon changes started off with a little bit of a YouTube video that Bungie put out showing you how some reticle changes that's happening. So it's going to be on the fusion rifles, hand cannons, sidearms, and trace rifles. It's going to give you some more information about aim assist cones and how they're interacting with on your weapon. Just give you a lot more feedback, and they're starting with those. Also, they're going to have charge meters on fusions and swords that would be more easily seen of like staring at what you're doing instead of looking at the bottom left of your screen. Then Sarira's Wrath is getting a experimental aim down sights reticle. It's now has a reticle that reacts to the weapon's accuracy and auto aim as it turns red reticle, meaning that you're in the range of before your damage drop off when you're on your target. So if you have a Sarira's Wrath, to my knowledge right now, you can only get it if you've already had one. So maybe this is going to be back around next season. So hopefully people will be able to go get this weapon. Oh, and they have legacy focusing on trials. Never mind. Everybody can go get it. So
I just thought maybe they wanted it to be like the beta tested by like the 1% of the Crucible players or whatever. Yeah. So that's kind of why I thought they might have chose that weapon.
All right, we're going to have some more adjusted reticle actions with some exotic weapons. So these weapons all like have a charge or something you build up to or gather. So Devil's Ruin, Salvation's Grip, and Grand Overture is going to have the charge up meter. And then perk counter is going to show up for Quicksilver, Ace of Spades, Lumina, Travel's Chosen. Mana Core is going to get a meter right next to the aim down sights. Also, Hawkmoon, Aegir Scepter, Teraba, Touch of Malice, Cryosthesia 77, Trinity Gold, Vex Mythoclast. They're all going to have their active perks show up. And also when it deactivates, it's going to go away. So just give a little more information to the players. I think overall, this is just a good quality of life upgrade that they're changing to these reticles. It's not something that I ever thought I really needed playing the game, but hopefully this opens up the left side. Like I don't need Momentum Moray as one of my buffs anymore if it's just going to show up on my gun reticle, right?
I don't know, man. I wish they would spend this time to make a new Gambit map or something instead of messing with like the one thing this game does is like the shooting feels good. Mm-hmm. So like why are we tinkering with the shooting and like the way it looks and feels instead of the other things that are going on?
All right, next up is inspecting your weapons and weapon rotations in the inspection screen. So a lot of these other guns have it. Now you're going to be able to take the guns and spin them in the X direction. So the Y direction and Z direction is not going to change. So just like how you can spin your character around, you can spin your gun around in the inspection screen.
Been only been wanting this since D1.
Well, we finally got it. So,
yep.
I seen. I guess this will just make the game cooler. I guess for some of these weapons that they build, you actually get to see the other parts of the gun instead of that one side and directly behind it.
It'll
Yeah.
be good for your thumbnail game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. True. Next up, for auto melee, it's coming. There's another link there you can post to it, but basically some swords and glaives. That stuff is just going to be easier to use. You can hold down your melee key, melee button, and keep that going. Next, we got some weapon archetype changes. So, for bows, Tyranny of Heaven stats were always weirdly low, and were touching this weapon anyways. So, opted to update the stats while they was in there. Now, I was looking, where else has it been mentioned that they are touching Tyranny of Heaven? And they haven't mentioned of why they was in there. So this is the first time mentioning it, that they're touching that weapon. So that's kind of leading to, meaning what, Fox?
I'm not following.
You're not getting
I'm
it?
sorry.
So they haven't
No.
announced the raid for next season. What's getting the red border, the crafted weapons, the weapon we work.
Okay.
So they're already in there touching this. That means Last Wish weapons are getting the rework, and that's going to be the featured raid.
I would be okay with that. I'd be really okay with that. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been announced, right? Isn't that kind of weird?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
'Cause-
I didn't even make that connection. So there we go. Cool.
Yeah.
Good guess.
Did you happen? There's some new like leaks as to what like the reprised raid might be.
Oh, I
Has
didn't see that.
anybody taken a look at this? Okay, I won't say anything because we don't spoils. But it's interesting. Take a look at that if you're into that kind of thing.
And I remember seeing Apex Predator on like one of the screenshots in like Lightfall, like something. But that's what led me. Okay, SMGs, aggressive SMGs have surged in PvP for many reasons. So mainly the time to kill and the time to kill even for high resilience guardians. So they're going to be changing time to kill ease, dropping that or bringing up the time to kill. So reduce base damage from 15 to 14, but they increase the hit multiplier by 1.45 to 1.5. So that crit damage is going from 21.8 down to just one base 21. The Immortal SMG is a stat monster, and even with this change, they know how good it's still going to be. So now they're reducing the range of Immortal by 10, just straight up. So,
All right.
Still probably going to be best in class SMG for the Immortal. There's people with rangefinder and target lock, but more about rangefinder later. Sniper rifles, they're careful to buff these up too much, but they think there's some room to grow here. So they increase PvE damage by 10%. However, Izanagi's Burden Honed Edge will not be receiving the 10% buff. And that's unfortunate. But I think Izanagi's already probably a top 3 weapon in the kinetic slot especially for the exotics. Izanagi's Willow Horde and Occluded Finality. I guess Arbalest.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you pretty well hit the top 4 there for sure.
All right, next up, Scout Rifles. Long Arm somehow had the benefit of like the exotics of doing extra damage to combatants, and they corrected that, and that will not be in Season 21. So copy, pasted, text Mechanica.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So now we got some exotic weapons, and Eyes of Tomorrow, Fox. What's going to be going on?
Yeah, so basically, Eyes of Tomorrow, which is the Deepstone Crypt exotic rocket launcher, solar, the adaptive ordnance exotic trait. Basically, it locks on to, I believe it was 8 enemies or 6 enemies whenever you use it. And basically, you hold the zoom button, you wait till all the red boxes appear, and you shoot it like up in the air, and then the rockets track. Well, the ammo, it should be used to kill groups of enemies, based upon like how it tracks different enemies. But the rocket launcher ammo economy doesn't really allow for that. So what they decided to do is make it to where if you kill groups of weapons, specifically 4 targets with a missile volley, it will refund 1 ammo. So it's essentially a free shot. So we were thinking like, I thought of the encounter in Vow of the Disciple where you got to carry all the different buffs around and all the ads in there. You're just kind of running around, and it used to be pretty liberal use of the Gogglehorn in that encounter, but it'd be a pretty good spot now for this. And Jared mentioned having one person hang out at like the bank in Gambit or in the center of the map, like at a high point, and then when the enemy spawn, just kind of focus on that. So that'd be pretty interesting. It'll definitely be more useful, but I don't think it's going to be like OP at all.
All right, next up is Graviton's Lance. To me, this has always been an afterthought since like Destiny 2 Year 1. And the Revision Zero heavy 2 bursts showed Bungie that they like that 2 burst option, so they're upping Graviton's RPM to match the 2 burst of Revision Zero. And while they're doing that, they're also evening out the damage of the 2 burst to where more damage is on the front end and less damage is on the back end of that burst. Just make it more consistent. So it's still going to do like 70, 73, almost 74 to the head with both shots in PvP. So still needing 3 bursts, but I believe that's a 2 head, 1 body. Maybe you need 5 head, 1 body with that to get that 3 burst. Jade Rabbit has pretty much been probably like one of the better scout rifles in PvP for people that like scout rifles, but the perk's been weird, so they're just making the perk better. They added the buff text to show when Fate of All Fools increases body shot damage and when it's active, and then it quickly hitting 3 crits in a row refunds 3 shots instead of the 1. So that's like OG Whisper, what that's doing, right?
Yeah.
Manticore, they're just improving it a bit, just to operate a little bit better. They want you move a little bit faster in the air with the perk going, and have a little bit more resistance while in the air. That's like, it's close to being fun, but it's just like not there for me. Maybe this will push it over the edge. Lumina,
I think silly was a really good word they used there for it.
True. Lumina, they're increasing the Noble Rounds cap from 5 to 6. That way it's going to match Ace of Spades. Heart Shadow is kind of difficult to proc, and it's exotic perk. So the damage increase now activates quicker while invisible. Is now after being invisible for a quarter of a second instead of a full second. And then Heart Shadow now weakens upon dealing damage while the damage increase is active. So coming out of invis, you're weakening the target. So that's a good change. Wardline Zero, for a long time, that's all the speedrunners were using. The sprinting heavy attack can now be chained to itself twice, and then the sword guard cost from each sprinting heavy attack is reduced from 100 to 50%, and then increase the damage from individual sprinting heavy attack by 8.3%. I don't think it's become that popular yet, but there it is. So, Chad, why don't you take us away with Sweet Business?
Sweet business. So they're saying it's a lot of fun, and it is, especially for Titans. But what they're doing now is they're adding explosive rounds every 20 shots. Fewer shots while it's fully spun up. So all those Titans that are running an Actium and just sitting on a lane, every 20th shot or more is explosive.
It's going to be tough.
So frustrating.
And this is going to pair well with the champion mod that we're going to get later on this episode.
Oh yeah, anti-barrier. You just sit there and just. Oh man, that'll be interesting at least.
Mhm.
I'm going to talk about this next one too because it's one of my favorites. Legend of Acreus is hitting extremely hard, dealing some of the highest damage per shot in the game, but its reserves are small. So what they're doing is they're increasing the total ammo from 12 to 16, giving you 4 extra shots, and increasing maximum projectile distance from 9 to 12 meters. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, things a literal cannon. It's a monster, and I've enjoyed it for a very long time. So I'm happy to see that I get more of it, more ammo, and I don't have to be all up in your business to actually get some damage out.
Still super good on the Deep Stone first encounter, shooting those tubes
So
or power
Fuses.
cores
You're
or
welcome,
whatever.
everybody.
So with Sweetness and Legend of Acreus, like those are kind of made to go with 2 Titan exotics, right? With Action Warwick and then no backup plans. Because no backup plans with the Void Shield is now going to buff shotgun damage too. So
Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. That's gross.
yeah.
Am I gonna be using that in the dungeon? Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, I was like making the gauntlet build with Titan where the shield throw has the I forget what they're called. But I like
yeah.
But I was like making that prepared for next season. I was like, I'm probably gonna be running that. I like got it all blacked out shaders. Like, oh, this looks cool. I was like, dang, I think I'm gonna have to make a new backup plan build on
Typical
the
hunter.
Titan to go instead.
Exactly what I was thinking. It's the most hunter thing you've said in weeks. Trying to find me an all black shader to black it out with.
All right, Tommy Smashbook pretty much been a throwaway ever since it came out. And they was afraid to buff it up too much with the past with that applying Scorch. So now when overheated, sustain scorches. It will scorch your target. So every 5 shots, it applies 14, and then plus 7 with Ember of Ashes fragment. So, all right, you can do ignitions while your health is
it's
draining.
Still not ever going to use it.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
I mess with it,
no time.
especially with anti-barrier.
Really? Okay. No Time to Explain is the next. The drone would not work against barrier champion shields when it had an anti-barrier effect. They fixed that and also made the drone work with the Feeding Frenzy perk. So the drone and that with Feeding Frenzy, that's with the No Time to Explain catalyst, and resolved an issue where the feedback of the Feeding Frenzy would always play when the player spawned and then never again. Skyburner's Oath, Solar 3.0 patch turned out to be conservative, so they brought it up to be more competitive with other scorching options, increase the stacks from 3 to 5 and 5 to 10 if you're using the Ember of Ashes fragment. This was just the Skyburner's Oath. Has anybody ever used that gun except to like cheese through shields or something in like a strike or a nightfall?
There was a small run where people were like trying to use it on Midtown. Where like I was back when the projectiles like did increase damage the longer they flew, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. After that, we get to Salvation's Grip, and they say the utility is entertaining and situationally useful, but as a heavy weapon, it really needs to do damage without compromising on its identity. So they've rebuilt the functionality using bowling as inspiration. Reworked to have 2 firing modes. A charge shot creates a pattern of stasis crystals where the number of crystals is no longer dependent on charge time. An uncharged shot is a normal grenade launcher shot, which does more damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Added a new perk that reloads the magazine from reserves when you quickly shatter at least 3 crystals with the uncharged shot. So that could be interesting. Probably not super useful and high level content, but maybe put that with have like some sort of goofy all grenade launcher build with like Salvation's Grip and 2 other energy, and just see how it goes. If you, especially it could make doing some bounties pretty quick, I would say, but that's about it.
I mean, I feel like that would have came in super handy back when we was all grinding out the stasis aspects and fragments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. When you have to get shatter kills and those things like that,
Mm-hmm.
would have been very handy.
All right, next up is Bad Juju. Been around for the entire 9 years of Destiny, I think. They fixed the issue that was causing the weapon to recoil like an auto rifle, making it harder to control. The recoil pattern will now be similar to other pulse rifles. So this is like one of those games. The exotic was powerful rifle, got shipped with autofile. So that's why my guess they made it feel like an auto rifle because you could just lay on the trigger with it. Fighting Lion right now is doing crazy additional damage against combatants. They're fixing that to where it's not doing more than intended. Thunderlord, here we go. It was bugged. It was the lightning strikes was happening more times than intended with Divinity. So I was basically counting this twice instead of one with a crit. So that's why Thunderlord was putting out so much crazy damage this past season.
Like, I'm pretty happy about this because I knew that, like, I'm sorry, this is not going to be popular, but holding an auto rifle at a Divinity bubble should not be a top TPS option.
Correct.
I'm okay if it's like an okay DP, like if you can 3-phase, like the final boss with everybody's using Thunderlords, I'm okay with that because typically it's a 2-phase. If you're very coordinated, you can do it in 1 phase. But I think if you're using something like Thunderlord, if you have like 5 Thunderlords in a div, it should be a 3-phase. That's my opinion. A very comfortable 3-phase, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's a decent place to be with machine guns wise for a boss, DPS. Machine guns should be made for encounters that like, the third encounter of Valdo Disciple where you're trading out the buffs, killing enemies, you're on the move. Like that should be machine guns. So
yeah, or like the Confluxes in Baltic Glass, something that's not a boss. Something that's not a boss encounter, I'd be okay with it. But definitely not for the final boss. It shouldn't be 5 Thunderlords.
all right, Winter's Bite. Ever since it's come out, it's been a problem child of damage wise and shattering and doing ghost damage on bosses. So Bungie thinks they fixed it this time. I think this is the 3rd time or the 4th. I'm not sure. Kind of lost count. It's not competing with the Telesto yet, but I think Telesto sees something in its rearview mirror like, what's that? It might be creeping up on it. But they're trying to fix the impact damage. They moved it around to, I remember they did this with the rocket launcher perk, cluster bomb. They moved the damage around on it, trying to get it fixed. So they probably did. They probably did it this time. Last up here is going to be for perks. So the big one here, Fragile Focus. The bonus lasts until the shield pop is gone and returns once shields regenerate to 100%. This is a very big buff to Fragile Focus. So I think I have a Mindbenders with Fragile Focus that I got stored in the vault. So on a shotgun, on an SMG, this Fragile Focus stuff is going to be pretty good. Thresh grants increased... No, Thresh, Demo, and Pugilist grants the increased energy from glaive projectile kills just like they do on shotgun, fusion rifles, and snipers. That's like 10% of your ability back with those. Reconstruction has been simplified under the hood so that they can place the perk on more weapons without exceeding perk budgets. This was a slight change in limiting the perk where the initial timer and the condition timer between the reloads have been filed. So base perk now is 4 seconds and the enhanced perk is 3.5 seconds to reload a round. Shoot to loot is going to work on Orbs of Power. So that's pretty good. And in the future, again, they're looking into the zoom stat on weapons and kind of make it standard across the board. And then also, always on time Sparrow. Everybody knows it goes the fastest. So looking into ways to make it to where you can not use always on time, but still go just as fast using the other sparrows.
Like those cool raid sparrows for doing all the master challenges that you just can't ever use.
Correct. All right, that's it for weapons tuning. A lot of good stuff there. The Monarch still has not been touched in PvP, so that's probably the one of the main ones I've seen out there that survived that the people are kind of upset about. And then the Curse of the Bowmains, absolutely love it. All right, moving on to the TWAB.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a long time to just get to the TWAB.
Exactly. So the first part of this TWAB here is basically summarizing and collecting all the links of like their big articles that they're changing leading into season 21. So that's economies, weapons that we just went over, abilities, exotic armor, quality of life, crucible updates. So if you're wanting to know even more of those, you can either go back and listen to our other episodes or just click those links and take a read. Next up is the 3 new strand aspects that we talked about last episode. They actually put out YouTube videos for. So that's the hunter. They do the dodge ability and they leave behind a strand mascot that enemies are going to shoot. And then once they shoot, it breaks out into threadlings and goes and gets them. So it looks cool. I really wish it looked like your character to trick people in PvP. So what's that Titan look like?
The Titan. Let's see here. So we're talking about Flechette Storm. Let's see here. It looks pretty sweet. You jump up right in the air and just start launching projectiles at people, which is like the swings. And I saw a combo of five swings. It looked like. So like because they said you get a special combo when you use all 3 of your melee charges instead of just like jumping up and doing 1 or 2. So that it looked cool. Now, whether it's going to be really good is going to have to be tested out. But it looks like fun. It definitely looks like a lot of fun. I said that about the other slams that we got, but I don't use those. So we'll see. They're typically not my style, but it does look cool.
The Wonder from the Warlock basically shows 5 enemies, like a group of 2 and then a group of 3 a little further behind. And it shows the Warlock using his projectile strand melee ability on the first 2 and killing them, which creates a tangle. They then pick up the tangle, throw it at the group of 3, and it suspends the 3 behind. It gives us Warlocks a way to suspend enemies, which is handy. So we'll see how it plays out in game though.
All right, the refundable artifact is almost here. So that means you're going into activity. You got anti-barrier pulse rifle selected, but you need another overload. You can switch off of that onto something else in that column. What I think is going to work, and don't have to reset the whole thing. Select all your mods. Like, what ones did I have picked in column 3 and 4? No, just swap out that one mod. So that takes us to the artifact mods for next season. So this is pretty great that they let us know this a little bit ahead of time. You can kind of get some builds together in your head leading into next season, what's going to be. Column 1, so that's all uses your weapon anti-champion mods. So it's following suit. We're going to have anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable hand cannon, finally returning, overload scout, overload choice rifle, and then unstoppable glaive. Has the glaive had a champion mod every season since Witch Queen?
I thought you were going to say, has the glaive been shoved down our throat this entire time?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, the
it
answer
has.
to both questions is yeah.
I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it on there again. At this point, if it hasn't caught on in a year, in a season, it's not going to catch on.
It's literally just a dead mod for pretty much everybody. But it's a free choice of not making something. But
unless you LFG, and then there's the one guy that thinks that he's going to be able to. He's like, oh yeah, I'm really good with the glaive, and you're running like a grandmaster or something,
I've
or
seen the Reddit
a
post.
master early
downloaded it.
and Yeah, I haven't been on the TTG Reddit in quite a while. So like I say, like I mentioned many times, I tried to avoid those things. So I I don't unknowingly copy something that I read on there on the show. So, but yeah, if I would have saw it, I would have downloaded it also.
All right, column 2. Authorized mod arc. So that this is whenever these mods make those. Selecting this mod makes the mods on your character cost less. So you have arc, void, and strand. Yeah, and then melee, and then also you have.
Is strand not tied into one of the others like it was? Wasn't it tied into a lot of stuff in the first season this year?
We're gonna have that one again, but it's gonna be tied in with arc. So that's the Technicolor siphon. So that is strand and arc combined together will produce orbs on your helmet. So last season we had solar and void, but now we're just having arc paired with strand. All right, now we're just going to start getting into the fun stuff. So, I mean, Chad, will go ahead and take away column 3.
Oh boy. So column 3, we're getting an improved unraveling. So increases the amount of damage dealt by unraveling a target. Deeper origins greatly improves the benefits provided by unsated hunger. So the traits that are coming from this season and the newest season. So they're kind of just squishing them together. And then we got Unto the Breach. Defeating a void debuff target creates a void breach while your void subclass is equipped. So very much voidy boy all day. Electric armor stays amplified for longer while your arc subclass is equipped. Again, just keeping onto that subclass theme. Thunderous Retort grants bonus arc super damage if cast while critically wounded or while amplified. So they used to be where it was only while critically, but now adding that amplified thing is kind of nice. Lasts until the end of the super. So it could be like near the end of the amplification and then you activate super, but you got it for the whole super. Moving into column 4 here, we're going Strand Soldier. Your strand weapons gain unraveling whenever you gain woven mail while your strand subclass is equipped. So Tides are going to have a neat time with that. Overcharge. Oh yeah, and the hunters, right? Hunters have an easy way to get the mail as well. Overcharged armory, weapons with unsated hunger, nanotech trace rockets. Again, the traits are always overcharged for you when the modifier is active. Protective breach, picking up a void breach gives you an overshield or refreshes your existing overshield. Counter charge, gain a stack of armor charge when you stun a champion. Neato burrito. Amped up. Gain damage resistance while amplified.
Interesting.
So definitely very arc and void season here. But the gaining a stack of armor charge.
Allies when your arc subclass is equipped. Performing a finisher while you have woven mail grants woven mail to nearby allies when your strand subclass is equipped. And performing a finisher while you have Devour grants Devour to nearby allies when your Void subclass is equipped. I thought this was just overall a cool one. Not sure how useful it's going to be. Devour could be pretty handy if you have like somebody running like a Void and in-game content. I'm thinking of like, what's the one where you fight the giant Scion at the end? Inverted Spire. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. No.
And you know how... No, that's not right, is it?
No.
Inverted Spire is the one with the big robot at the end that you fight.
Yeah.
Exodus Crash?
Nope.
No.
Nope. That's the one with the guy we got off the edge. Anyways, the one where you fight the big Scion at the end. You know the very large room that you have to like take the orbs to the other end? Devour, if you're running that and somebody's running Void, to get that Devour rolling and it passes to all your buddies, it could be pretty handy there. And last but not least, the final, lightning strikes twice. After throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time. Arc final blows extend the duration of this benefit. So I had to read that one a few times just to. So it kind of seems like if you, what I was trying to figure out is if you use like armamentarium, right? And you throw. Remember how good like storm grenades were there for a bit?
Yeah.
So if you throw those,
Yeah.
and you get that increased recharge, and then say you're using like a risk runner or something, I wonder how fast you're going to be able to chain those grenades there. So I don't know, just something I was thinking about.
Okay. I didn't really think about it of other arcs, other arc increasing this benefit or keeping it going. I
Yeah,
was
or
thinking
like Ikelos SMG, something like that, where you can get that jolt and all that foolishness chaining around.
Mm-hmm.
Could be interesting. Not sure like how viable it'll be, but could just be interesting.
Yeah, I really think the no backup plan, Titan build of getting over shields and buff and shotgun damage has got even better with all these mods for next season. You're just gonna be able to easily get over shields. You're easily going to debuff people. You're easily going to buff yourself.
What kind of arc shotguns do we got right now?
Well, there's one arc slug.
Philo. Yeah.
First in, last out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know about
Found
it.
Verdict. That's for the aggressive. Gambit has.
Okay, so we got Xenoclast, we got Deadweight, we've got the Fourth Horseman, first in, last out.
Oh.
Found Verdict, the Legend of Acreus. That's what I have.
Yeah.
Like just in
How
my
do I always
dim.
forget?
Yeah.
Could be fun. Any other? I wonder if you do like because it's. I think they're kind of want people to use Arc just kind of based upon this stuff here, and I'm sure like Void will be the next season, right? So and then probably Stasis maybe Stasis next season, then Void the one after that. I just wonder some of these Arc shotguns with like 1-2 punch, so could be. Or Chad uses like a 2-4 punch. Could be some interesting stuff there, I think.
Yeah, definitely going to be getting to those builds really early on. Definitely try to put those out in a podcast maybe once a week of what one of us is running or found that we really liked that week. All right, next up is updates to elemental shields. Basically, shields has been pretty standard in Destiny 2, the way they are viewed. And now, going into next season, they're going to be more slender and more like egg-shaped instead of like a cylinder around the enemy. It's going to be like a halo, basically going around from top to bottom. So that might throw you for a loop a couple times first time you've seen it because you've been seeing it the same way for like 5 years. So, changing stuff. Basically, one of the final big topics of the TWAB here is stabilizing the servers. This is something that a lot of people have talked about. I know I've seen at least a couple YouTube videos out in the last couple weeks of people saying that defending or saying how terrible the servers are. One of the two. So going into this next season, Bungie is going to be extending downtime every time there's a patch. So there's been a lot of times for the past couple of years, Bungie's puts out a patch and then they do some rolling background maintenance while the game's still live. You can still log in and play. Instead of doing that, and a lot of times this last season, they kind of had to bring the servers back offline anyways while that's happening. There's going to be 90 minutes of downtime when a patch goes out. So for the best timers, from noon to 1:30, that's whenever the downtime is going to be. So this should be helping Bungie stabilize servers, do less of these weird, funky bugs that's coming out where they have to bring the game offline, people allegedly losing characters, and all this stuff. So should fix some of that.
Go touch some grass. It's all right. The game's down 90 minutes in a week. You'll be fine.
Dude, that's like
I'm sure the internet will die.
Yeah.
Destiny 3. We need Destiny 3. My God, I had to spend 15 extra minutes off the game. You'll be fine. Okay.
That's like the perfect amount of time to go out and like you go to your supermarket, grab some lunch, maybe hit up the gym, and you're back home, right?
I was thinking go to the buffet, have some delicious food,
True.
and then come back.
That's the same as the gym, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Guardian games. It's over. Titans have won, but Titans in first place. Hunters are for now in second, and then Warlocks in third place. It's pretty much a landslide for the Titans. Congratulations, Chad, and all you WK Warriors. Last up here
Excited.
for the TWAB as Asians at Bungie. There are May is Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and they're proud to introduce Asians at Bungie. With this, they're launching a pin and emblem that you can get at the store. So Agents at Bungie began back in 2021 in response of the rising discrimination and violence against them in the communities, and their mission is to uplift their fellow AANHPI employees and provide Bungie diverse insight into the culture and support the local communities. After many rounds of discussing with creative directors and revisiting designs and generous support from internal inclusion and diversity and equality and consumer products teams, they are ready to debut Stand with Asians pin and accompanying with Harmonic Waves emblem. So the Waves emblem, there's a meaning behind that. And with this 7-petal flower, which basically meant to have tea with all 7 continents. So kind of just unite us all and everybody have tea together. I liked warm tea. How you two feel about warm tea, or are you more of a sweet tea person?
I used to drink a lot of tea. My mom used to make and drink a lot of tea, hot tea. Since I moved out, and I'm not much of a hot tea person, but I do like some unsweet or some lightly sweetened tea. I don't like super sweet tea, which I know is more of like a southern, like South thing. But I do like it a little sweet, but not like syrup sweet.
I don't like hot drinks in general, typically, so I'm a big iced tea kind of guy. Different flavors, doesn't have to be, southern sweet tea, which is good, but all kinds of tea, just not hot.
Yeah, I'm big on if I'm I go to the city barbecue or something like that, and I get a fountain drink, but for the tea I'll do the ice, and I fill it up with unsweet tea about 67%, 2/3, and then that last third I hit it with some sweet tea and hope they got lemons nearby to throw lemon in there too, and that's good stuff. All right, for all you people that like Twitch and like supporting your Twitch content creators, there's going to be a new emblem for gifting subs on Twitch. I'm not sure exactly when this goes live, but it says you won't be able to pick up the new emblem until May 28th. So maybe watch this a couple times, maybe listen to that people are saying, oh yeah, it's ready to go or not. I don't know. Might want to give us a couple days for you to go in there and start gifting subs. And that's it from BR1 or
Burr.
One? I don't know.
Uno?
Yeah.
Bruno. What if it's Bruno?
Oh.
Oh yeah, because Uno is 1. Yeah, no, it's totally Bruno.
I'm going with Bruno.
You're so good.
From now on,
You're
I'm
so
calling
good.
him Bruno.
Like that.
I'm calling him Bruno. If that's a well-known thing, then I'm sorry that we're dumb.
It's okay. We're good at being dumb.
We get there eventually. We went to county school. All right. Next up is three likes
Pre-show
and
callback.
3 dislikes. So for me, my like, it's pretty simple. I finally finished 72 seasonal challenges this week. So I got that sweet 4,000 bright dust after spending much more than that this last season.
My like is Destiny is still fun whenever you are playing difficult content. I went in to do I can't remember the name of the challenge, but it's the daughters or sisters. I've heard it called different things. On the King's Fall raid, it's the Rotator raid this week. The Master Challenge, to where you can't stand on the same plate twice in the damage phase. And got it knocked out on I think it was our 13th or 14th attempt with just a complete LFG group. Went pretty well. Can't complain. Took probably an hour and 15 minutes or so. Damage wasn't an issue, just kind of staying alive and getting the hang of what was going on. Had a lot of fun and still enjoy Destiny when it's difficult.
For me, my like was having a Destiny break. I still need to do 2 more challenges, but not worried about it. But it's been nice. Been nice and relaxing, doing something different to get ready and raring to go for next season. That way I'm not fully drained and I'm not excited to play next season. So I'm happy to have something to distract me, so I have more Destiny energy come Tuesday. Now as far as my dislike, it's same thing, just that because I'm not playing Destiny, I don't get to play with the homies. So this is the first time I've seen them since the last podcast and talked to them at all. Normally we'll play on a Sunday or a Saturday night or do something, but after the podcast, that was it until literally the pre-show. So it's been fun playing a new game, but it's like, man, I really want to play with the boys. You know what I mean? But we're all doing our own thing, and that's totally cool. But I miss the boys.
My dislike was that without any sort of red border chase or anything, it's kind of, I get on and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I just didn't really get much done. We didn't even get our red border run done last week, and we haven't done it yet this week. So kind of pushing that out because I think I still need 15 patterns. No, I basically need 10 full runs, and that's I need 10 patterns, 5 full runs. So I need that's a red border. So I'm at least 5 or 6 weeks away from being able to get all those weapons red bordered. So would like to do that this weekend. We didn't even get to do our gambling corner, which is another dislike. So we just we really sucked at playing Destiny this week.
Yeah. No doubt is what happens to most people towards the end of this season. This week you get double Gambit, Crucible, and Vanguard rank ups or something like that. So they just try to do everything possible to get people to play this last couple weeks of the season. My dislike, my vault capacity. I'm at 570 at 600 with my characters pretty full, and I already did one light cleaning through 3 days ago. So I really need to get that down to about 550 going into next season. Man, I got to really start cracking down on myself and stop keeping stuff just because it's a trophy.
Yeah, I'm at 577 right now, and I think if I went through the raid weapons and stuff, I think I could get a little lower, but worry about it when we get there. Takes us to gambling corner, right?
Yeah.
As kind of previously mentioned, we did not get in to do our 2 runs, so we will attempt to get that done here before the next podcast. Everything will reset next week, so we'll see how that plays out. From there, it takes us straight to war with Chadocero.
Boy, we're going to be finishing off the Sightlines book, which closes out the seasonal lore. So we're going in with chapter 4, Over the Water. Mithrax stood among the trees at the edge of the farm and looked out over the water. His splicer faceplate, still connected to his chest piece by a tangle of wires, hummed quietly on the ground behind him. He turned to pull a ragged breath from a rebreather at his collar and noticed Devram K sitting quietly on a stone outcrop at the edge of the tree line. The man acknowledged Mithrax with a nod. Devram, forgive me. Mithrax pulled his mask up by a fistful of wires and fumbled with the delicate clasps along its edges. Devram put a hand out to stop him. It's quite all right. I didn't mean to interrupt. Mithrax stopped, his hand held in his hands, and turned back to the water. I understand if you'd like to be alone, Devram said softly. But I wouldn't, in your place. You may remain, Mithrax said, his voice thinner without his vocal processor. He scratched absently at the old scars along the side of his face and winced as his claws found the fresh injuries caused by Aramis's stasis blast. Seems you came through just fine, Devram said, and the ease of his tone made Mithrax turn as if struck. The pain was bare on his old Elixni face, and Devram blanched. No, terribly sorry. I didn't mean that as a slight, Devram said, hand to his heart. I'm relieved you survived, genuinely. Mithrax took a shaky pull of ether and fastened his faceplate into place. He walked wordlessly away through the trees. Excuse me, Mithrax? Devram's voice felt uncomfortably close over Mithrax's in-helmet communicator. The Elixni leaned against the tree, suddenly deeply tired. Sorry about the intrusion. I know a bit about piggybacking on Elixni comm signals. That sounded horrible earlier. Fantastically poor choice of words on my part. Mea culpa. That's my fault in an old Earth language. I do hope I'm not making this worse. Mithrax resisted the urge to send a deafening spike of feedback over the signal. He held his arms to his abdomen and as if to soothe the knot that formed there. I only live because of the sacrifice of a friend and the pity of an enemy, Mithrax said sharply. If I may, from what I know of Amanda and Aramis, you live because you earned the respect of both, Devram replied. Amanda protected my life with hers, Mithrax said, his voice wavering. I would not have agreed to such a trade. You told me our lives are not for us alone, Devram said gently. I think Amanda of all people would have agreed with that. A long silence fell over the comms. Mithrax? Devram finally asked. I've been thinking. With all this Queensguard business, is there a Kelsguard? There was a soft hiss of static, a click, and silence. A Kel does not need protection, came the grumbled response from behind Devram, nearly startling him off his seat. Devram turned and looked up into the pulsing pink lights of Mithrax's faceplate. Protection is the wrong word for it, he says. Perhaps simply help. Mithrax stood motionless for a moment, then waved Devram to the side with one of his lower arms. The man made room, and the Elixni sat down beside him. The two sat in silence, looked out over the water together. Chapter 5, Brevity Code. Mark was still half asleep when he reached out to silence the shrill chirp of incoming transmission. Private channel, low urgency, heavy encryption. Devram? He said drowsily. Evening, dear. The comms amplified Devram's low murmur to audible ranges. I'm waiting for this scion to come and pay me a visit, but he's being shy. I thought you'd be better company. Mark couldn't help but picture it, the single watchful eye waiting in the dark. He felt abruptly wide awake. Do you need help? No, I wanted to talk. Rather to hear you talk. Mark took a deep breath. What should I talk about? Work? What I'm planning for breakfast? Devram's quiet laughter came through as a gust of static. You can say anything at all. Well, Mark rose out of bed and strode aimlessly across the room. You might have noticed there's a lot going on. Certainly. I was patching up one of the generators yesterday morning and I got swarmed by the neighbors. Mark laughed quietly. Everyone wants news. They're pretty freaked out. I told them all I can do is fix things. I don't have a line on the Traveler. There was a sharp buzz from the comms. Mark wondered if there were jammers wherever Devram was, just out of effective range. Actually, Mark continued, I told them that you're some kind of awoken paladin now, so they have nothing to worry about. He found himself moving toward a window, pointless as that was. He looked out over the dark street just below before letting his eyes wander up to the clouded night sky where the Traveler used to be. I told them Sir Devram K is going to single-handedly chase the Legion off-planet and bring everyone back home safe, Traveler included. There was a warmth in Devram's laugh. He's going to do all that. Sure is, Mark smiled to himself. The silence stretched on. He braced his hand against the windowsill. Devram? The communicator dampened all but the first few milliseconds of the rifle's retort. But all the same, Mark would have sworn the shot rang in his ears. He held his breath and started to count the seconds, to chart out the gap between the shot's terrible potential and its final resolution. 1, 2, 3, until Devram spoke again, until Mark could breathe again. 7, 8, 9, it's done, Devram said, and then, I'll be home soon, Mark. I know. He stood there at the window, watching the horizon, and waited for the signal to cut out. Chapter 6, The Battle Within. Guardians and civilian functionaries bustled past Devram as he made his way towards Zavala's office in the tower. The graying scout took a deep breath and was discomforted by the assault of body odor, pollution, market spices, and the sharp sting of aerosolized ether. He suddenly yearned for the clean forest air of Trossland. He knocked sharply on the office door and opened it tentatively. Zavala beckoned him in. The scout sat beside the commander's enormous desk, which was cluttered with minimized displays and blinking holographic reminders. Each, Devram assumed, was an urgent communique waiting orders. Thank you for stopping by, Zavala said. I know you're busy. Devram arched his eyebrows. I suppose that's relative, Commander. He gestured to the field of demanding messages. Zavala dimmed his desktop display with a wave of his hand. That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. As the Vanguard has grown over the decades, leadership is getting further and further from the civilians we're protecting. I can imagine, Devram replied sympathetically. It seems as though the tower grows taller every year. Indeed, Zavala fixed Devram with an inscrutable look. Was it fatigue, regret, resentment? The moment passed. We need a fresh perspective from the ground, the Titan continued matter-of-factly. Someone who understands both the Vanguard's mission and civilian populace. An attaché of sorts, who can help us coordinate with local governments. I'd like that person to be you. Ah, Devram replied. He had feared something like this was coming. Mark would be thrilled. He's been hounding me to get out of the field. Then perhaps it's time. I appreciate the offer, Devram replied tactfully, but I'm afraid I'm not ready to put my rifle down just yet. My knees aren't what they once were, but with age comes clarity. I used to think working recon made me reclusive, but now I rather believe it's the other way around. What you're describing is public relations, the scout continued. And I can't imagine anyone less qualified than myself. I understand, but recon is risky work, Zavala objected. The longer you're in the field, the greater chance that something will go wrong. That's true, Devram admitted, but as dangerous as it is in Trossland, no battlefield frightens me more than this one. He gestured again at the barrage of unanswered messages. I'll take my chances with the Shadow Legion, thank you. Zavala leaned back in his chair and frowned. I'm disappointed. He turned his attention to the array of messages. But I understand. Not a day goes by that I don't miss the field. Actually seeing results instead of just reading about them. The commander sighed. I accept your decision. But if Mark ever asks me why you're still in the field, I won't lie, he cautioned. Devram chuckled nervously. That's a different mission altogether. So, even through the loss, it looks like Devram is going to keep putting his butt on the line to make sure that everyone in the last city is safe and that everyone's missions are successful. So, he's the man.
Mm-hmm. He's a guy that definitely enjoys a spot of tea.
Yep. Hot.
All right, time to move on to the mailbag, the final one of Season of Defiance. All right.
Ooh.
Question number 1. Final rating of the season. So I guess we're going to go like classroom grading here.
Yeah, usually.
This is a tough question.
Yeah.
Can we talk about what the season was? So we had the 3 battleground missions or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The war table with those weapons that were on there. The couple missions with like holiday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And roughly nine red bordered weapons, like 6 from the war table, and then the 3 swords,
Mm-hmm.
and then Imperial Decree. So like 10-ish red bordered weapons. We got the farm. Does the farm count as, because you didn't go there for anything in Lightfall? It was all for the season.
Yeah.
And do we include like the Nightfall, the 6 selected Nightfalls in there, I guess?
Yeah, that's season.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe like the missions weren't terrible. I kind of had a decent time doing them. It wasn't a sucky upgrade system. The weapons were really good on there. The story kind of came and went. I mean, I guess Holiday died. Spoiler alert. But we didn't really get like the end, like an end mission at the end of the season. So this is, and knowing that like it launched alongside an expansion, so like this is why we've talked about in the past, like we're cool with it being a little lighter on the season. I would say compared to other first seasons, I would say this is probably like a B plus. Overall, like versus the other like 16 seasons of Destiny, or 13 or whatever that number is, it's probably like a C minus. So I guess it's kind of how you want to, if you're comparing against other first seasons or against every other season, that would kind of be my 2 ratings.
Yeah, we also have the Vexcalibur mission that
Yeah.
they brought
Mhm.
Ashtamir back in a way, not fully back yet. So because of that, I'm gonna have to give it a B minus because of kind of like the dialogue that happened along with the season 2 bumped it up to that next later grade for me. I was flirting between C plus B minus. So Zavala's lines, which might be a little bit of emotion playing into that too, bumping this up, but so be it. I'm a human.
Yeah, I mean, the season started off good, and then it quickly fell off once we figured out, everybody was like, oh, this is going to happen, and then it happens, and then that's kind of the end, but it doesn't feel like it feels like there should have been more to it. So very unsatisfying ending there. I mean, yeah, Amanda spoilies passed, and watching Zavala go through it was like, okay, story here, a little more character building, hooray. He hasn't cried enough since Season of the Haunted, I guess. But that's really it. There wasn't much more besides like, I guess, Queen Mara being like, okay, I definitely need your guys' help, and I'm going to give you power to help me as well. And then you didn't even build on that even really, besides in lore.
Yeah.
So like we're the Queen's Guard, but what does that mean? We know what it means, but Mara hasn't said very much about it. So it's like, okay, well, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Crow going on revenge tour towards the end.
yeah, but we don't even get to see it.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to be there. But yeah, so I'll give it a C plus.
All right, question 2. Anything you didn't get completed that you wish you would have this season?
Ooh, definitely the Master King's Fall challenges and the Master Vow challenges. For sure.
Mine would be getting the gold tusk, the sword, getting all those knocked out. I'm still like 3 gold tusk patterns, maybe even 4 gold tusk patterns away from having those done. and I have put probably 200 engrams into those swords, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking it's like next season, like waiting until the end of the season to see what wet borders I needed left, and then spending like all 6 in like the last week, you know. But it probably end up being on those swords. I feel like, not get done. I'm pretty pleased with most things that I got done, but I kind of wish like we got like Rooted Nightmares Flawless done or something like that, because now get everybody playing again on the same season might not happen for 9 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not something that like we're incapable of. It would just take like 5, 6, 7 runs of focus and full dedication to do it.
Yeah.
Question 3, thoughts on Destiny as a whole at this point? I kind of took this as like people wanting Destiny 3 and blah, blah, blah. So I figured we'd keep it light because we've discussed it many times over the past 113 episodes. I think Destiny is a really good game, and I very much enjoy it. I don't think it's a game that you play for every day for 12 months a year. I think that it's a game that you play very heavily in spurts, and it's okay if you take a week or 2 off a season to play another game, or if a new game comes out and you want to play it. It's not that big of a deal. There's plenty of time to get what you need done.
Yeah, I think like the overall state of the game is pretty good. I wish there was maybe a little bit more for new players to get into, and not like going in and be like, what do I need to buy? Should I even buy this season? Like, what do I need to do to start like just like doing the matchmaking nightfalls and stuff like that? I think there needs to be a direct path, or like, hey, here, spend $5 and you have in your 1770, and you can do nightfalls and everything.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what changes with the Pinnacles Shrine being gone. So seeing the first week or 2 experience for us in particular. But I think the biggest thing they needed to do is, like Jared said, is really change the new light experience and make it much more teachable and much more of a learning experience for people. Because you go in, there's a lot of stuff in this game. Like for us, like we're even looking at stuff and being like, what the heck's that? And like, oh, I forgot about that. Like being so many things that we just overlook because we haven't needed to know it for a while. But like having not a mode, but like the first time you go into Gambit of you like playing and you select Gambit, it shows you on the left, or it's just there permanently. It shows you, hey, this is what a Reaper looks like. This is what a Invader looks like. And these are not real like team modes of what you're supposed to be playing, but here's the team positions that should be played in Gambit. Here's what moats are. Here's what you have to do. Like if you hear a drifter say bank those moats, you should probably listen. When you run into a mechanic that's new, like in a strike, like say some orbs dropping on an elevator during what's that one on the Dreaming City?
The Corrupted.
Corrupted.
Yeah. And you pick up an orb for the first time. It says, hey, throw this at your teammate. Throw this to your teammate when they're looking at you. This will overcharge the orb and double the damage. And that just keeps popping up for like the first couple times you pick up an orb. Like all these things that should be happening, or like when you start an event, it has like a little pop up on the corners. Like do you want to make this heroic? Here's how you do it. Like all these things that are so taken for granted for us that people that come in, the game doesn't tell you any of it. It's kind of like, hey, thanks for playing the game. Good luck. Otherwise they have to find one of us and we have to guardian, like carry the blueberry around and teach them as much as we can. And as fun as that is, sometimes when you're ready for it, it's it kind of stinks when you're playing a strike and people aren't doing things right, or they just don't know, and you're like,
then
you
they
could be,
have
we could be
team
smashing
chat
this.
turned off where you can't even message them.
Yeah, and it's like, man, the game should have shown how to do this stuff. It should tell you these things, and they just don't.
Or the chat doesn't work, like local chat. You've done that too much or whatever.
Yeah.
Question 4, what are your expectations for Season of the Deep? I think Season of the Deep is probably going to be a low point. I think Titan kind of sucked before. So even if they bring the whole thing back, it's going to be like a small area. And I imagine that, that cycle we go in Destiny where like the expansion comes out and everything's good, and then everything sucks, and then everything gets better, and then everybody's hyped, and then everything's good and everything sucks. They're listening and it gets better. I think we're like about to hit that. This game sucks. I feel like we're getting real close to that already. And I just feel like that there's not going to be enough to tide people over, especially with like the pinnacle grind, all that being done. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to play like 5 hours on Tuesday and be like, all right, what am I supposed to do now until the dungeon comes out on Friday? But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I do expect it to be at least the second best season, like of the 4 that we get in the calendar year. I expect Season of the Deep to be the second best, at least, if not the best. So that's why I think it should be at. I expect a new strike. I expect a new seasonal activity, and then something else to do on Titan. That's, I don't know if we just get Titan back in general, or it's a reprise strike. Like, I feel like there's gonna be something else going on at Titan that we're gonna be doing.
What if all we
it'll
get
be-
back is the strike with Mara, not Mara, but Erismorn's fire team and the crystals?
Oh, the eye Savathun.
Yeah.
Well, here,
Savathun's song or whatever.
Yeah.
my question is always going to be this: like, is this going to be a Season of the Seraph where, oh, you get Mars back, but not really? We didn't really get that section of Mars back. It's just it's just a battleground. Or is it going to be a Leviathan, where it's going to be Titan, a part of Titan that we were in, but changed? Obviously, Season of the Haunted was the second season of last year, and this is Season of the Deep coming as the second season of this year. So I'm hoping it's the Leviathan of the season, where it's coming back and it's an actual little bit of explorable. No, obviously not the entirety of Titan, but maybe it's like just the arcology.
Why would it not be the entire? You act like Titan was so huge. There wasn't much
had
to
long
Titan.
stretches. Well, I'm not saying there was, but there was a good amount to the Leviathan that just wasn't around. They skipped a ton of the underbelly because you didn't need it. They used it in like the missions, but like as an explorable space, like, do you know how big the arcology was? It was really big inside of there. There's a lot going on in there. They could expand it and make more zones inside of it, but I don't know. It's gonna be different somehow because it got zooped by the witness.
Question 5. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being no chance and 10 being definite, do you think that we will have an underwater mission or missions next season?
Underwater, just when they mean underwater, are just like undersea level. All of a sudden, we find a cave, and that cave is like oxygen. Like, you're not in water at that point; it's just trapped air or something like that. Is you consider that underwater?
Sure.
Then yeah, I
Like,
would say
there's a part where you're swimming, like
swimming.
underwater.
Oh man.
To get to an area, or to shoot, or anything where you are maneuvering underwater.
I'll give that a 4 out of 10.
Oh boy. Dang it, I did 5.
I'm a 0. Like not even a 1.
No. You
There's
said it
0.
on a scale of 1 to 10.
0.
You can't
like
break the rules here, dog.
-10. Then a 1, whatever the lowest is. I think might be a video of us like perusing through, but I do not think that we will be underwater and me using WS, A, and D to control me being like swimming or anything like that, or a submarine. We won't be piloting a submarine, nothing like that, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right, last but not least, I got us a riddle ready here. What starts with T, ends with T, and has T in it? What starts with T, ends with T, and has T in it?
Is it tea time?
Not sure tea time ends with a T.
I'm just not gonna guess.
I thought it ends with tea, as in like the drink tea.
That's why it's a riddle. It's supposed to make you think like that.
Starts with tea, ends with tea, and has tea in it. All right.
Chad, no guess at all?
Nope.
Jared, anything?
I don't think I can think of anything else right now.
Teapot. Teapot is the answer there. So you were close, Jared.
I was thinking tea kettle, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
It's pretty close as well. All right. So that's the end of the show this week. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, other podcast services, if you're listening to us, that way you can get on YouTube, see 2 of our 3 beautiful faces. You can figure out which one is not beautiful yourself. I'm going to let these other 2 guys sign off here.
Yeah, take it easy this weekend. If you're not grinding out any last minute Destiny things, for me, I'm not stacking up 180 bounties. I think I might have 60 to 80 done, and I'm good with that. It's gonna be fine next season.
Yep, I already did all my bounty stacking, so I'm done. But if you're playing other games like me, enjoy your time away. Do something else if that's what you want to do. Grind out the end of the season if that's what you want to do. You do you. As long as you stay hydrated and get enough sleep, take care of yourself.
Go Cats. Love you guys.